The next thing we're going to cover is called search engine optimization, SEO. It's a very complicated, fancy word that means basically getting to the first page of Google or other search engines, but Google is like by far the biggest search engine in the world. I think it's over 80% of all the searches, maybe 90%, something like that. But basically, if you were to summarize and make it really simple, all SEO means is when people are searching for your product or service, for keywords that matter, your website comes up number one or as close to number one as possible. Number one is very valuable because number one gets by far more traffic than any of the other search results. I've seen different statistics at different times, but I believe it's around 30% of all the traffic from that keyword, maybe 33%, something like that, comes from that first entry on Google for that keyword. So you always want to aim for that first entry. Now SEO, I've seen SEO, I've read so much about SEO. The amount of information about SEO online is mind-boggling, mainly for the reason that SEO is all about having content online. So everybody who's good at SEO knows they've got to put out a lot of content online to give Google opportunities to find them for these different bits of content they've put out online. And because everybody who wants to sell their SEO services knows this, they've put out a lot of content about SEO. So there's so much information out there. Some of it applies to big business, some of it applies to small business, some of it doesn't apply to anything because it's the biggest load of rubbish. I've learned this personally. I've listened to people that seem to know what they're doing only to find there was absolutely, like, if there was any value in what they said, I couldn't find it because it didn't help me at all. And then I've gone and then I've kept on digging and I've gone, trial and error. And the reason it's sometimes a bit tricky to know what is right in SEO or not is because Google doesn't instantly go, that's a good article, I'm going to put that number one. No, Google doesn't do that at all. Google goes, hey, there's a lot of information out here. Now Google's not starved for content. There's more content out there than can ever rank on Google. So Google goes, okay, this is a good article. Let me test it with a small amount of people that search for this thing. So this article that I wrote is called Business Leads. I wrote it a few months ago. Google, I noticed, showed it to a bunch of people at one stage and suddenly it gave me a bit of search traffic from there. This is exactly how it works. It shows it to a bunch of people. It ranks it in the first 10, maybe even number one. I'm not 100% sure because it's only to a small amount of people. And it goes, okay, let's test it out. Do people click on this? And then it uses user signals, people that are browsing, and says, okay, they've scrolled down a little bit, that's a good sign, or they just arrive at the article and what's this article? And they just leave. Google tracks all that thing, all that process. If people scroll right through the article, that's noted by Google. If people go to the web page, not necessarily an article, maybe it's the home page or whatever, and the people are clicking around inside that website, they stay in that website, Google sees, oh, that's a good sign, the person found what they wanted. All Google is trying to work out is for that search term, like let's say the search term is business leads, like this video, right? If Google finds somebody put in business leads and they stayed on my article and they watched the video and they spent a long time and they maybe signed up for an email newsletter on my website, Google goes, hey, this is a good site. Let me send more people who search for that to this website. And if I do all that really, really well, my article eventually ranks number one for business leads. That is in a nutshell search engine optimization. And it's mostly about creating the best possible content for specific keywords in Google. If you can do this, you can literally get Google to hand you thousands and thousands of people searching for what you want. Hundreds of thousands of people if you're good. Millions of people if you're really good. Obviously, it's very competitive because the entire internet is trying to get the big traffic keywords. So you got to put out something that's really, really, really wanted out there and needed. And it's a constant game to try to stay relevant and try to, answer things that are actually appropriate. So that's a whole world out there, but it's very, very valuable. because online, 50% of all the traffic that goes to all the websites on the internet comes from search engines. So if you don't care about search engines, you're basically just closing the door to half of the possible traffic on the internet. So it's just stupid. So people say SEO is dead, blah blah blah. No, SEO is very important. There's also things that some people don't realize. There's something called local SEO. What that is helping people, like let's say you're not a business that serves the world. Let's say you serve a specific area of the world. Maybe it's a few blocks, maybe it's a city, maybe it's a region. You don't have to optimize for search around the world. There's certain things you can do that indicate to Google that these searches are relevant for people around your business. So that is called local SEO, and that's a lot easier to rank for because you're not competing with the world. Google knows that if people search for restaurants near me, you're not going to get a restaurant on the other side of the planet ranking. Google's going to show you the restaurants near you. So that's a lot easier to get results in for Google search. So it's not necessarily difficult.